If you're a business consultant right now, the time has never been better to stand up and be a leader. Because if there's one thing the world needs right now, it's business leaders. And you are perfectly poised right now to be that leader. But you're stuck at home, not sure what to do, perhaps not quite the direct face-to-face access to these amazing businesses that you would like, but there is very much hope. And to tell us all about this today is the amazing Theresa French. Theresa, thank you so much for joining me on scottcundill.com.
Well, thanks for having me, Scott. It's great to be here. And I couldn't agree with you more. Leadership right now, leadership not only for our clients, but leadership in our own work and driving things forward to make sure that, you know, while the world might feel like it's stopping, we can't. We have to keep going. And I had a conversation with one of my clients yesterday about the fact that the solutions that you provide are still needed in the world. Whether you're working from home, you're working abroad, you're working from a beach, you're working from an office, wherever that is, the problems that they have only exacerbated. They've only gotten more critical, which means your solutions are even more critical to their problems. So as leaders, we have to work from home. We have to manage our time. We have to be disciplined. We have to say to ourselves, you know, we're going to do our work today. And it's really, trust me, I've been a remote worker for decades, and it's really, really easy to think, oh, you know, everybody else is kind of sleeping. Nobody's really expecting anything. I'll just skate today. I'll just go sit out in the yard. And, you know, we're in challenging times. And I think some self-care is absolutely necessary. At the same time, we've got to get down to the work. Leaders don't sleep. Leaders drive, leaders go forward, leaders move things forward for their clients and for themselves in their own business. So, you know, I think we're in a world today that working remote doesn't seem nearly as foreign as it once did. Even for those who don't do it or haven't done it a lot, we have so many technology tools and so many different support systems available that I think it's less foreign than it used to be. So really it comes down to time management. It comes down to prioritization. It comes down to saying, look, this is what I need to get done today. Here's the promises I'm going to make to myself and my clients, and then getting that done, because leaders keep their promises.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And it's also, Theresa, you know, at this stage, there are a lot of businesses that are hurting. So what advice would you give? And because you have trained a lot of business leaders and especially, you know, business consultants on how to kind of sell, how to nurture, how to get those deals without being a hard salesperson, etc. And you and I have done many discussions and written many articles on this topic. But right now it's a little bit different because they are hurting. There's a lot of businesses that are hurting and they need your advice. So how would you say that a business consultant broach the subject with a particular prospect out there without sounding salesy and without obviously sounding, you know, too hard or coarse or uncaring?
The first step before anything is done, before we say anything, before we go to the market and make any kind of approach, is to really adjust our own expectations and understand that this is a time that deals are going to move a little bit slower. People are uncertain, people are unsure, they don't know what's next. Making major decisions, making major changes in their business is really scary, even more so than it normally is when things are normal, right? If that's even such a thing. But at the end of the day, we have to adjust our expectations and come to every call and every outreach with compassion and patience and persistence all at the same time. So what I mean by that is that we develop. We need to be on a mission to find out. We need to be hungry for knowledge. It's that curiosity factor that I talk a lot about. If you come from a place of curiosity and the need to know, you will want to find out where that business is. Believe it or not every business is suffering. There are many, many businesses that are still thriving, that are doing just fine. They either were more prepared before all of this hit, or they had a few other things, or they pivoted faster. I've talked to a couple of companies that have just pivoted and they're doing phenomenally well. So it really is about twofold: adjusting your own come from, understanding that you might need to move a little bit slower with a little bit more compassion and be more hungry for the knowledge that your prospect or your client has for you in their situation. What is the implications of what they're going through mean for them now? But also prospecting very, very smartly. What are the industries that we can be looking at that you have a solution for as a business consultant? be a little more savvy in the prospecting phase. Where can you go? Maybe you too, as a business consultant, need to pivot a bit. Maybe you need to work with a different vertical, work with a different business, a different industry for a little while, because you still have the same solutions, they still have the same problems, but you're just going to shift a bit because perhaps the need is more critical in another industry. So being a little more savvy on who is my prospect, maybe just a minor redefinition of who it is that you're working with in the forefront. And then, because of course we can pivot anytime we want. As consultants, we have a large treasure chest of information and solutions and opportunities for these businesses that, quite honestly, we could probably lay over just about any industry. So again, be a student of the game. If you are pivoting to a new industry or a new vertical, learn about it, which is yet another excuse to get super curious. It's about asking for what a colleague of mine calls AIR, A-I-R, advice, insight, and recommendations. If you're pivoting to a new vertical, if you need to be a little more savvy and talk to a different industry, get out in that industry and ask the questions and ask for appointments, ask for calls that says, I'd like your advice, your insights, and your recommendations about what you're going through. Where is this industry today? What are you facing? And how might I be of service? So again, it's adjusting your own expectations as well as pivoting yourself a bit if you need to keep that pipeline full. The one thing you cannot do is stop, period.
Absolutely. You got to carry on going. And the sales pipeline right now is something obviously you and I do a lot of work on, and, helping especially business consultants understand how that pipeline management needs to take place, because it's a combination of a science and an art. Perhaps where, we try to nurture them, and you're more like, okay, how do you convert them? What do you say? And you always talk about this, always be curious. And you always talk about asking these questions. And I want to just reiterate something you've just said. If you're a business consultant right now and you're looking for, as you call it, those 5-figure deals, they're still out there. And those opportunities still exist right now, possibly more than ever. But you've got to do it in a very, very specific, gentle, but, asking questions way. Now, if you're a business consultant and you want to take advantage of that, give us a couple of pieces of advice right now that they're sitting from home. What can they do to start looking for those deals?
So a couple of things that you can do right now in this climate as you start to look at, providing your solutions for the ones that need it the most, those 5-figure deals that are waiting for you, really has everything to do about being savvy and being aware of what's going on in your marketplace. So one of the things that I talk to my clients quite a bit about is trigger events. And so stay on top of the news headlines. What CEOs, what companies are going through. If you read an article that a CEO just had to lay off 20% of his workforce, if you have a solution for helping that company make sure that they thrive on the backside of that, reach out to that CEO, reach out to that executive team, let them know that you can be a help, let them know where you found them. Knowing that you've done your homework is another really great way to let your prospect know that you care. And that soft approach has everything to do with saying, I know where you are, I'm there too. I want to thrive on the backside of this, and I have some solutions that I may be able to help you with. I don't know. A quick conversation is going to help us figure that out. But if I can help, I want to be of assistance to help you thrive after all of this is over. Because here's the raw truth of it is, the problems a company had before any of this hit are still there. Again, as I said at the top of the interview here, they're probably even more exacerbated, or they've been replaced by other problems. So there's no lack of problems to solve. And in that curiosity and need to know, you have to be curious about what's going on in that company that you can solve. And you can only find that out by actually asking questions and outreaching to those people. And so be watching your headlines. Look at your existing clients you've helped in the past. Who is now affected by what's going on? What has maybe not held on after you worked with them? Go back and revisit those clients. You have a relationship with them. End of the day, those clients are ready to hear from you as well. You were their lifeline once. You can be their lifeline again. You've got to reach out and open up that dialogue and make sure that you are a help. If you're coming to these calls, any outreach, your email, your calls, your LinkedIn, your phone, whatever method you're using, and you are coming with that level of compassion and curiosity that says, look, I'm just wondering what's going on for you, because I am having a ton of conversations with other clients that are facing A, B, and C. I'm wondering if this is true for you. If it is, it might be worth it for us to have a quick conversation. I just want to touch base with you and see how things are going. And really, really be curious and compassionate. I can't say that enough. We have this beauty of this shared experience right now. And for probably one of the first times in a really long time, you can honestly say, I'm in it with you. You're not sitting on a mountain. You're not sitting in a good spot and they're not. You are in it with them. And so from that perspective, if you can align with them as their colleague, their coworker, align with them as their cohort, their support system, and their lifeline, you're going to have more business than you know what to do with. But it's out there, and you've got to pursue it. That's the thing. And again, it's back to be proactive. You've got to be a leader in the end.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. Now, one thing we want to really try and be during this time is kind of the good guy, the good girl during this process. You know, really want to be able to stand out and be that shining beacon. And one of the things we're going to be talking about in our next panel discussion, which I'm really looking forward to, as part of the great sales trainers and great methodologies, sales methodologies of the world, of course, which you're a part of, you know, is this concept of credibility and maintaining and establishing credibility. Perhaps just to finish off, let's just talk a little bit about the importance right now of not being seen as the bad guy who's trying to hoard, but being seen as the good guy that's trying to help.
I think that's going to come through in the content you produce. If you're using social media, which I hope you are, the conversations you're having with your following, as simple as the memes you're posting and the positive attitude that you're taking in your world. Let the world see that you are on the positive side of this, that you're looking forward. You're not looking backward. You're not stuck in where we are. You're not looking back. My dad had a really great analogy for me years ago. He said the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, because the rearview mirror can only hold so much of the past. You have to be looking forward through that. Unless you want to go backwards, which leaders don't typically go backwards. But if you're driving forward, you need to be looking through that windshield and make sure that you are looking for those opportunities, but not only for yourself, but others find those opportunities to remind them that this is not the end of the road, that we're not in an apocalypse, if you will. I had a client mention that. We had a big conversation about the apocalypse. Like, we are so not in apocalypse. Let's look at this for what it is. It's a challenge that we're going to get through. And if you can lead the way in helping people see that and adjust your own mindset to believe that too, and if you have to fake it till you make it, every day, wake up and look for the opportunities and say, there's more for me. Where is it? I'm going to find it. And as you know, Scott, and anyone who's listening to this who's been in business for any length of time will agree, in that effort for you to remind yourself on a daily basis, adjust that mindset. It drives everything you do. Others do the same thing through your content, through your conversations, and through your postings on social media. However you outreach to your world, make sure that they know that you're on the positive side of things and you're looking up and looking forward.
Theresa, thank you so much. That's absolutely wonderful words. Love it, and looking forward to our next discussion, which is going to be very exciting.
Definitely.
So in the meantime, if there is a business consultant out there looking for some guidance and help on how to get out there, get their name out there, but get those clients coming in and help them sign those 5-figure deals, how can they get hold of you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. Theresa J. French is my profile, and I have my phone number listed there. My email is listed there. Feel free to reach out directly. We'll hop on a quick call. Absolutely no strings. I do not believe in sales calls on the first approach. So if you want to talk a little strategy, if you want to talk a little bit about what's going on, let's just have a conversation like two human beings, because that's where it all starts.
Theresa French, thank you so much for joining me on scottcundill.com.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Have a great day.